Anger, the enemy within. The old monk sat beneath the ancient cedar tree, his eyes half closed, his breath steady. A storm brewed on the horizon, rolling clouds of gray and black twisting in the heavens. A low rumble of thunder echoed across the valley, but the monk remained still, unmoved by the chaos above. Anger, he whispered, is a deceptive flame. He opened his palm, watching as the wind rustled the leaves around him. It begins as a flicker, a small spark in the heart, ignited by a single offense, a single insult. But left unchecked, it becomes an inferno, devouring everything in its path. The temptation of anger far below the mountains. In a village bathed in the crimson light of dusk, a young warrior stood before a training post. His fists were clenched, his breath sharp. The words of his rival echoed in his mind, taunts, insults, challenges. His anger surged, and with a roar he struck the wooden post again and again. Bam, bam, bam. Each strike was fueled by rage. But the more he gave in, the more he lost control. His breath grew ragged, his vision blurred, his strength wavered. "You call this power?" A voice spoke behind him. The young warrior turned, finding the old monk watching him, calm as the still waters of a morning lake. "Your fists strike with force but no wisdom. Your strength is raw but undisciplined. And your heart?" The monk shook his head. "It is in chains." The warrior scowled. "Chains? I am freeing myself." "No," the monk replied, softly. "You are enslaved. Look at yourself, out of breath, out of control. Anger has made you its servant. The cost of rage." The monk sat upon a flat rock, motioning for the young warrior to join him. The storm in the distance grew darker, restless winds, picking up the leaves around them. "Tell me, how many men have lost everything because of a single moment of uncontrolled rage? How many words have been spoken that can never be taken back? How many brothers, friends, lovers have been torn apart by pride wrapped in fury?" The warrior looked away. The truth stung deeper than any blade. "Anger," the monk continued, "is the only battle where victory feels like defeat. You think you've won when you lash out, when you strike, when you shout the loudest. But in the silence that follows, what remains?" The young warrior said nothing. Regret. Loss. The ashes of bridges burned. The test of power. The wind howled. As the storm neared, the monk stood, his robes flowing in the rising gusts. He gestured to a lone tree standing in the field below. "Watch closely." Lightning flashed, and a mighty gust of wind surged forward, shaking the trees violently. Some of them bent and flexed, enduring the storm. But one tree, tall, stiff, unyielding, snapped in two with a sickening crack. "Do you see?" the monk asked. The warrior's eyes followed the fallen tree, realization dawning in his mind. The strongest tree broke first. The monk nodded. Because it could not bend. It thought that to yield was weakness, but in truth to endure is the greatest strength. He turned back to the warrior, his gaze piercing. "What will you be? Will you be the rigid tree that breaks under anger? Or will you learn to bend, to let the storm pass and stand even stronger?" The final lesson. The monk stepped forward, standing at the very edge of the cliff. The storm had arrived now, dark clouds swirling above, the wind tugging at his robes. Yet he stood unmoved. "Anger will come," he said, raising his voice over the storm. "People will insult you, challenge you. They will seek to control your emotions, to drag you into battle on their terms. But tell me, young warrior, who holds true power? The one who strikes first, or the one who cannot be shaken?" The warrior felt something shift inside him, looked at his own hands, scarred, bloodied from the training post. He had spent years believing that power came from dominance, from rage, from proving himself. But now he understood. The greatest power was not found in the storm. It was found in the stillness. He met the monk's eyes and nodded. The storm raged, but within him a new peace had taken root. Anger is the enemy within. Master it, and you will master yourself. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story. Let me know what in the comments, what ideas you would like the next story to be about. Please leave a thumbs up, share, subscribe, comment.